and welcome to Starting Over. I am your host, Patti Handy. So happy you're here. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM. We are also on Facebook Live. So go to the KHTS page on Facebook. You can watch us live and also send in questions if you like. And you can also download the free app at your favorite app store. Just go to KHTS and you can listen to us anywhere in the world. You can also listen, or call in, I should say, with questions with our guest. 661-298-5487 is the call-in number. And starting in June, I'm on now twice a month, second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So thank you for that. If you've missed any episodes in the past, go to startingoverwithpatti.com, and that's Patti with an I. Click on the media link, and you can see all the past shows. And you can also download a free guide there. I prepared something for you, 6 Steps to Financial Healing After Divorce, and it's at that same website. So what is this show about? My mission here is to really help people transition from brokenness to brilliance after divorce. I want to help people move through the pain and overwhelm of a divorce and become a place of happiness, empowerment, and peace. Having gone through a divorce myself, I know how challenging it is, how emotional it is. It's scary, it's exhausting physically, financially, emotionally. And my hope here is to bring in various guest speakers that help you navigate this time in your life. I know when I went through my divorce, I had a wonderful support system with my family and friends, and they were my lifeline for sure. And I also recall, in thanks to part to my parents who taught me at a very young age about managing money, I remember feeling good about myself financially, knowing that I could take care of myself and my son, who was very, very young at the time. And that brought a sense of peace. In the middle of this chaos and this emotional craziness, there was that weird little puzzle piece that was giving me some peace, knowing that financially I was going to be okay. I knew how to manage money. I knew how to make it. I knew how to invest it. And that's what I want to bring to you. If money is an uncomfortable topic, that's definitely one that we will be talking about with different speakers. And you can always reach out to me personally and privately, and I'll absolutely help you. But again, my intention here and my goal is to really help you navigate this difficult time. So today's guest speaker I'm super excited about. Her name is Karen Roth. She holds a Master's of Science degree in Holistic Nutrition from Hawthorne University. She specializes in women and men of all ages and helps them restore hormonal balance the natural way through adjustments in diet and healthier lifestyle choices. She also offers the ALCAT food ALCAT, I'm not sure I'm saying that right, food sensitivity test that identifies foods that are harmful to the individual. She also offers, and I'm going to totally mess up this word, SpectraCell micronutrient test, if I did that right, to see if your body has all the vitamins and minerals it needs. Karen maintains a clinical nutrition practice in San Diego, and she consults virtually with clients both locally and across the country, which is great. I worked with Karen personally when she lived here in Santa Clarita when I was going through it was later after my divorce, but I worked with her personally. I met her through the community, and huge transformation for me personally and how I felt. So I can personally attest to Karen and her ability to help others. So Karen, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Patti.
Hello. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. And by the way, you didn't butcher either of those words. You said them perfectly.
Oh, good. I hate it when I butcher words, and it was just, phonetically it looks a little strange. So, again, I mentioned that I worked with you personally, and we can share a little bit about my story in a bit. But, again, I can attest to your brilliance in helping me. And as you know, Karen, the listeners to the show are primarily those who are either going through a divorce or loss of a spouse, so they're under stress, they're under, just emotional exhaustion, physical exhaustion. And I really want to bring tools to them today that will help them through this time. So tell us, first of all, what conditions can occur when an individual is under a long-term stress?
Wow, the list is very, very long, but that can lead to, obviously, depression, exhaustion, And if someone has a weak organ, usually stress will go after that weakest link in the body. So let's say someone, had childhood asthma, got over it, but then they go through some stressful event that they may have an asthmatic attack as an adult. Those things, because their lungs are the weakest organ in their body. Poor digestion, so people start to have stomach issues like acid reflux, that kind of thing. Insomnia, of course, headaches, lack of concentration, panic attacks. If anyone's ever had one of those, you feel like you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
Those are terrible. And
I personally had those, yeah.
Yes. And, once you've had it, it's really hard to control it. So there are definitely, things that we can do when those come on. But stress can also raise your cholesterol levels and your blood pressure. So there's, obviously uncomfortable things that can occur, but also very unhealthy things that can come out of, stress, fully stressed life over a period of time.
And it's funny when I shouldn't say it's funny. It's not funny at all. But what's interesting is that when you are under stress and you're told, and I've had people tell me this. Well, just don't don't be so stressed. It's like, really? It's that simple. If it was that simple, I would, we would all be a lot happier. So yeah, the last thing you want to do to tell somebody when they're stressed is like, just don't be stressed.
Exactly. Or just, calm down.
Yeah, just relax. I'm going to pop them one when they say that. So let's talk about natural supplements that people can buy over the counter. Can any of those things be found for somebody who is under stress?
Absolutely. One of the most common things that somebody could buy over the counter is called GABA, and that's G-A-B as in boy A, GABA. It's usually comes in a chewable form, and that makes it a lot more absorbable, and that can immediately calm the body. My favorite is 5-HTP, which stands for 5-hydroxytryptophan. And what 5-HTP is a reduced version of tryptophan. And most people have heard of tryptophan in turkey. It's a supplement you can buy. It's found in poultry and other meats. But once you consume it, it has to convert to 5-HTP, which then which is your feel-good neurotransmitter. So, for example, I'll give you an example of myself. When I was living there in Santa Clarita, and how the fires are so bad. At the time, I was living in the valley, but driving up to Santa Clarita to my office, and I got trapped. I want to say between two big semis, and the sky was black because of the smoke. And I just went into a little bit of a panic attack in my car. So I knew I had 5-HTP in my office, so I just went into the office, took a 50 milligram 5-HTP, and I lay down on the floor, and in 20 minutes I was good to go. It works very fast. The one thing I do want to caution people is that 5-HTP can't be combined with some antidepressants. So before running out and buying 5-HTP, you should have someone look at your anti-anxiety or antidepressants if you're taking them. Now, on the other hand, GABA is very safe to take with anything. So if you can't take the 5-HTP, you can rely on the GABA.
So with GABA, let's just say you take it at 10 in the morning because you're feeling a little anxious, and then at noon you're feeling bad again. Can you take it again?
Yes, absolutely. It's very safe to take it in high doses, usually starting with 500 milligrams. Can go as high as, you could do that like 4 times a day if you needed to.
Okay, good to know.
Yes. And the other thing is vitamin D. If you have very low vitamin D, that can lead to depression, and that on top of stress can be a double whammy. So vitamin D is a very normal test you can ask your doctor to run, and what you'll want to do is just don't take their word for it that you're okay, within range, whatever the words are they use. Get your number, because that's what's important. The range is from 30 to 100. So if you come back at 31, they're going to say you're fine. Really, optimally, you want to be around 60 to 80. So optimal levels are really much better than just quote-unquote normal levels.
Okay, good to know. And if you are told you're low on vitamin D and you need to take a supplement, um, and you start taking something, how soon do you feel better?
Well, I'll give you an example of a very good friend of mine. There a few years ago, she told me that she was feeling suicidal, and she went and had and she had a full blood panel done, and the doctor said everything was okay. Would I look at her lab work? And I did. Okay, her vitamin D was 7.
Oh
7.
my gosh.
Okay, first of all, not only was that why she was so depressed, but that's very dangerous. Vitamin D protects us from cancer. So I had her on 10,000 IU, and within a week she was feeling better. Now, that probably just got her up to over 20, but she still had a long way to go. But you can see how damaging or how scary it is with a low vitamin D level. And doctors are just now testing it. It's never really cared to look at the vitamin D level in people or their patients in the past years, and you'd have to ask for it and sometimes even be denied. I'd like to mention this too as a tool for your listeners. A lot of my clients who come to me, they have very high deductibles, or maybe they don't have insurance, they're in between jobs and they just can't, get a test run. There's an online lab that anyone, except in a few states, and it'll tell you directly on their website, like New York, I think Maryland, but definitely here in California, you can order any test that you want from them directly online, and it's at the wholesale price. So let's say a vitamin D, if you go to the doctor and your doctor tests your vitamin D, they'll bill your insurance like $150. But you can go to this one online. It's called directlabs.com and order a vitamin D test for like $49. So if there's ever something that your listeners want to have run, have been told they should have run, and doctors just won't, or maybe they have a very high deductible and just can't afford to shell out a few $100s for a panel, you can definitely get it there at directlabs.com.
Direct Labs, plural?
Yes, plural.
Okay. That's great to know. And I would think that most people think, oh, vitamin D, I get that from the sun. I'm in the sun all the time. I'm outside. But it's not the same necessarily, right? Your body's going to digest something you ingest differently? Or is that, if you're in the sun a lot, are you typically not low in vitamin D?
Optimally, you would like to get it from the sun. The problem is that we are indoors a lot. If we're in our cars, we might have tinted windows. Most women's cosmetics already have sunscreen built into it. And to get the most optimal level of that you could absorb from the sun, you would need to be out half clothed. So it'd be like maybe in a pair of shorts and a tank top in direct sunlight during high season, between like the hours of 11 and 1 or 2. And if people are in different areas, or even different areas of California, you can go to the Vitamin D Council. It's just Vitamin D Council, and their website will pull up, and you can look there to see where is the most optimal time of sunshine in your area based on where you live.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's and I'm thinking that's why I've heard that Seattle, Washington, which is notoriously very cloudy and overcast the majority of the year, why there's a high suicide rate there. Is that a fair?
Yes, that's very fair game, and it's another reason that you see a coffee shop on every corner. Caffeine stimulates serotonin. So the serotonin, which is your feel-good neurotransmitter, is stimulated by sunlight and animal protein. That means like poultry, fish, meat, pork. And negative things can stimulate your serotonin. So narcotics can stimulate it, caffeine, excess sugar can stimulate it, but all of those are temporary. So you need that constant, that serotonin constantly at optimal level.
So let's talk about that and foods. The foods that we eat obviously can make you feel good or bad. What foods create more depression or stress? And then conversely, what are the best foods? I know you just mentioned a few, but like sugars. I'm a chocoholic, and for some reason, when I eat chocolate, a little bit. I don't, wolf down a huge bar, but I feel better. Now that's just a temporary little. I don't know what that is, caffeine, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, we grow up in our country being rewarded with food, and oftentimes it's something sugary, something that makes us happy, and the reality is that once you take one bite of sugar, of anything that's sweet, your sugar taste buds on your tongue are stimulated for 30 minutes. So that's why when somebody goes and gets a cookie, they're like, oh, man, I got to have another one. Oh, I need another one.
Yeah.
So there's definitely things you can do to stop that, and I can, give you some examples of that. But things that can be detrimental to the adrenal glands could be just exactly that, the bromine that's in chocolate and tea. It can cause excess sodium excretion and then cause a potassium-sodium imbalance. And we have this really delicate balance of potassium and sodium in our body that keeps our cells at an optimal level. Almost think of them like spark plugs. And when we get very low potassium, which is very common, it's very common in people because potassium is found mostly in vegetables and fruits and beans, but a lot of times we don't eat enough of those. I don't recommend that people supplement with a potassium supplement because the synthetic potassium could be harmful, but you can totally get it if you did something as simple as have a banana or a kiwi in the morning and maybe have some asparagus in the evening. You could get your potassium levels up to normal. There's other things that it's just not your cortisol levels that affect your adrenals, but the other hormones. Really is a delicate balance. So if someone's consuming a lot of soy, that can imbalance their estrogen, which could throw off the cascade and put more stress on the adrenal glands. And unfortunately, even if you're not, drinking soy milk or eating a lot of tempeh or edamame, there's so many products that automatically contain soy because it's cheap. And many products contain soy flour and soybean oil. So we could be consuming a lot of it, not even knowing.
That's really scary. We've got about a minute left before we go to commercial break. I want to come back and ask you about some tests that we have done, you and I have done for myself, and we can share some of that. But as we go out to commercial, share your information real quick as far as how people can reach you.
Okay. My website is my name, Karen Roth, ROTH, nutrition.com. That's Karen Roth, nutrition.com. My phone is 818-400-5410. People, if they go to my homepage, they can follow me on my social media that I have there with my business Facebook page and subscribe to my blog.
Okay, perfect. We're going to come right back. You listen to KHTS, your hometown station. Stay tuned.
The youth ministry at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita believes that students can belong to the group where we will help them believe they have a purpose in Christ and become all that He has created them to be. We want to see God's power come alive in our generation. We love meeting new people, so come hang out with us. Doors open at 6 p.m. and service starts at 7 every Wednesday night. For more information about the Church on the Way Santa Clarita, including service times and what's happening through the end of the year, visit tcotwsc.org.
At the Burrito Factory, their motto has always been to serve quality food with fast, friendly service. But did I mention the taste? When it comes to authentic taste and huge mouth-watering burritos, the Burrito Factory is second to none. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or a catered event, Burrito Factory has the taste of Mexico to satisfy your craving. Burrito Factory on Soledad Canyon Road next to Chi-Chi's Pizza in Canyon Country. Stop in or call ahead, 288-0222.
Patti Handy, host of Starting Over with Patti Handy, has written several books that speak to her audience. Money Rules 101, Master Your Money Before It Masters You, is designed for anyone seeking financial peace of mind, for themselves as a parent or their young adult children. In an entertaining and highly readable approach, Patti covers many topics, including the money mindset, debit and credit cards, understanding credit scores, entrepreneurship, spending wisely, secrets of savings, investing, buying a home, and most importantly, giving back. A must-read for anyone.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence, your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what is best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or go to resurgenceit.com.
Hi, it's Ashley with Waste Management. Have you ever heard the phrase, one bad apple spoils the bunch? The same is true for recycling. One non-recyclable item can spoil an entire load of otherwise good material. This may seem like a small issue, but it represents a huge problem that's preventing tons of recyclables from ever seeing a second life. Working together, we can do better by following 3 simple rules. Recycle all bottles, cans, cardboard, glass, and paper. Keep items clean and dry, and no plastic bags in the recycling. For more recycling tips, follow us on Twitter at WM_SoCal.
Ladies, and any men listening too, what are the 2 things you need in an investment partner? Control and confidence. You need a partner that gives you control and confidence when investing your money. Sheeprock is that partner. They're a team of experienced money managers offering custom solutions to help meet your financial goals. And Sheeprock's people work with you, answering your questions and providing guidance. Face it, you're not an investment guru. That's what you have people like Sheeprock for. Contact Ben Witters at sheeprock.com. SHEAFF Brock.com.
You're listening to Starting Over with Patti Handy, Senior Mortgage Advisor with American Family Funding. Patti's show will focus on healing, inspiring, and empowering anyone going through a divorce or a loss of a spouse. They're talking about everything from money and managing finances, legal issues, emotional healing, physical well-being, and so much more.
I'll be the last one standing.
Welcome back to Starting Over. I'm your host, Patti Handy. I have Karen Roth with me, via San Diego, talking about nutrition and taking care of your body when you're under stress. And of course, as we all know, or not we all know, but for those of us who have gone through divorce know that it's a very stressful, exhausting time. And Karen's giving us some great information. So off air, we spoke briefly about a few things, Karen. I want to jump right back into it. We ran a test for when I worked with you years back, a saliva test, and it was lovely spitting into a vial early in the morning. I have to say that was pretty gross. But what an amazing discovery! And so I'll let you share the discovery the first time, and then what we did to help, because I want to share my experience with others if they can, help. So talk to us about what the saliva test shows us, and you can share a little bit about my story.
Absolutely. Well, I'm running a different test now. It adds 4 cortisol readings for the health of the adrenals. Back in 2008, when I was running this lab, we were just looking at the steroid hormones, estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone. And back then, Patti, you had extremely very high progesterone. And can I tell your number?
Sure.
And okay, so your number was over 4,000. With being optimal, should only be about 215. So you had very, very high.
And you wonder why I was whacked.
Well, those levels cause vertigo, fatigue, anxiety. So that's a very high number that I've never seen since. But then after we started working together and working on using herbal supplements to balance out these hormones, your progesterone, like 4 years later, and when we retested, was right in the optimal range, 200. So those things are controllable. I guess that's what I really want to let people know, that if you feel like you have an hormonal imbalance, then those things are fixable. And so the test that I run today, it looks at all 3 estrogens. In addition, we add DHEA in the 4 cortisol readings, which really go and show the health of the adrenal glands, which most people have, kind of fatigued adrenal glands just because of the state of, life.
Yeah. And are those tests, they can be run on women or men, correct?
Yes, on women or men. And if someone is interested in just learning about their adrenals, we can just run an adrenal panel. We don't have to do the steroid hormones on top of it. So there are options.
And is it still a saliva test?
Yes, it's still a saliva test.
Okay.
You do 4 collections all in one day. And yeah, you got spit into 4 different tubes.
Yeah, remember those days.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll share really quickly the very high level of the progesterone. I was, for those that have listened in the past, I had my son through in vitro, and with the in vitro process, I had to have progesterone injections and shots early on in the pregnancy, so that the pregnancy would hold. And so I was getting shot every night with a high dose of progesterone, and I think that's what I'm almost sure that's what shot that to a ridiculously high number. But I didn't know it was still in my system.
And how many years later was this? I mean, how old was your son back in 2008?
Well, he was born in '96.
So he would have been 12. So you'd been carrying that around for 12 years.
And yeah, didn't even know it.
Didn't leave your body, and wow.
Yeah, crazy. It's nuts. It's and that's why those listening, if you've had any hormones orally or injection because you were trying to get pregnant or for any other reason, your system can be completely affected by that, and you may not realize it, even though it was years ago. So,
exactly.
Yeah, keep an eye out. So let's talk about. You mentioned some lamps. I was interested in hearing about those some lamps.
Yes, we were talking about vitamin D and how it's best to get it from the sun, and how low vitamin D can lead to depression. And I forgot to mention that there are lamps that simulate the sunlight, and you can buy these for your desk. You can buy these as like a box, like you can just sit in front of it, and benefit from the quote unquote rays. And I'm sure there's many more. The only one that I'm aware of, because I've just had it for years, is called Verilux, and that's like V as in Victor, ERILUX. And they just sitting in front of those for a couple hours during the day can help stimulate those serotonin levels. It's perfectly great for people who live like in Seattle and places where it's gray a lot.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, let's come back to people going through divorce and some of those joys, and I've said that very sarcastically, obviously. We don't sleep well, and even today, I struggle with sleep. I don't particularly drink coffee myself, but those that have to have their cup first thing in the morning to function. What are some ways to counteract that, and what products can you recommend?
Well, the 5-HTP, if you can take it, is very good for sleep. And just reducing your caffeine intake, because the caffeine is also not great for your adrenal glands. And I recently found a tea made from the coffee bean leaf. It's an ancient practice that's just being brought back in, and it's lightly caffeinated, so you get that feeling of like I'm alert, but without having that excess caffeine. It's called Wise Monkey with a Z, which is, I'm very sensitive to caffeine myself, so I was really happy to see it, because I do miss that morning, like, I'm alert now. Yeah, the little perk, and that's just what it does. And so that's one of the ways. There's obviously, if there is any kind of dysfunction in the adrenal glands, fixing that will help with the sleep, because typically you'll see people waking up with very low adrenals, and then they drink a lot of coffee, and then their adrenals will spike, but then they'll crash again, and they might even be doing some more caffeine support in the late afternoon to early evening. I don't know if this product is still out there, but years ago there was a product called Counting Sheep, and it was a coffee that had that was infused with, I want to say, theanine and tryptophan, and so it actually was a coffee that would help you sleep.
That sounds so counterintuitive.
I know, it does. It really does.
So some of the vitamin stores out here, nutritional stores, have sleeping products with melatonin and various products in there. Is that something that you'd recommend, or no? Is that dangerous?
No, melatonin is very safe. I think if they're in a sleeping aid, it's going to be no more than 5 milligrams. So you don't want to go out and just get a plain melatonin that's like 10 or 15 milligrams. That's way too much.
Okay.
So usually, typically, there's like 3 to 5. I'm trying to think. There was this one that worked really well, and this name is escaping me, but when it comes back, I will, I'll mention it.
Okay. So we talked earlier about sugar and comforting someone who loves the sugar. And when you're under stress or feeling depressed, that can be it's just a feel-good thing. So you were talking off air about some products that sort of replace the sugar desires.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, there's a couple of great sweet treats out on the market now that, the reality is, we grow up with foods being as a reward. And that's how we treat ourselves. If we're feeling down or depressed, we're going to reach for that chocolate bar or that pint of ice cream to make us feel better. And there's a chocolate bar out there called Lily it's one L, Lily, Lily Sweets. I see it at Sprouts and Whole Foods, and it's sweetened with stevia. So it's not a calorie-free or fat-free product, but it's totally sugar-free, and it's delicious. It comes in everything from nuts to salty to dark chocolate to milk chocolate. And that's a great place to start if you definitely love chocolate. And there's a new ice cream out called Halo Top. And Halo Top has somewhere near like a quarter of the sugar that normal ice cream has, like half the calories, half the fat. It's utterly delicious. It's just so good. I think if you even ate the whole pint, it'd be 240 calories. So
that's my kind of ice cream right there. I could go through the whole pint and still be good. I like it.
Yeah. But one of the most exciting things is I go to the Natural Products Expo every year in March, and there's always something that just screams out at me, like this is a game changer in my practice. And it's called, it was called Crave Crush, but they've changed it now to Sweet Defeat. And what it is it's a lozenge. Like, remember when I told you that if you have something sweet, that intensifies your sugar receptors for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Well, if you dissolve this Sweet Defeat lozenge on your tongue, your cravings are ceased in 10 to 20 seconds.
Wow.
And last for up to an hour. And it's amazing. I had them send me some samples so I could just hand them out to my clients and get their feedback. And it's been just such positive feedback. So, yeah, when we're looking at when you're under stress, trying to avoid caffeine, trying to avoid sugar, trying to avoid excess salt, those are some things you can do. And you are going to crave salt when you're under stress because the adrenal glands want that.
So the Sweet Defeat is just a lozenge that you put in and is that once a day kind of thing, or whenever you feel the hunger for sweets?
Whenever you feel the craving for a sweet, whenever. You could take up to 20 a day if you needed to.
Wow.
But typically they're like, you think about somebody wants to reach for a little sweet dessert after dinner. Well, if you take that right after you eat, you're not going to want to do that.
Have you been in my house, Karen? What the heck? We're talking about eating pints of ice cream and eating after dinner, and you're kind of describing me to a T here. Scary. So where can we get these Sweet Defeats? Is that also like at Sprouts and Whole Foods?
It's a very new product, so it isn't on shelves yet. So just go to their website, sweetdefeat.com.
Okay.
And
just buy it there.
Yeah, buy it there, or I do have a few samples, so maybe the first 10 people to reach out to me, I would mail them some samples, just so they could try them, a couple of packets.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's a change game or a game changer.
That's fantastic. So the first 10 listeners who call into Karen can request this, and she'll send it to you as a gift. So this is a good time to share your information again, your ways to people can reach you.
Yes. Okay. So my phone number is 818-400-5410. My website is Karen Roth, ROTH, KarenRothNutrition.com. From there, you can send me an email, or you can go to contact me, and you'll see my email there. It's KarenRothMSNC@iCloud.com.
Okay, perfect. And if anybody missed any of that information, if you're driving and you can't write things, reach out to me personally, and I'll be happy to connect you with Karen. Let's get back to this this ice cream, this Halo Top. I'm gonna go a little self-indulging here. Is that also at Sprouts and Whole Foods?
Yes, it is, and
Okay.
I find that my Ralph's carries it.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Lily Sweets, Halo Top ice cream, and sweetdefeat.com for lozenges. Okay, I like that.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to supplements. I know when I was crazy high progesterone, you put me on some product, and I know you're not going to necessarily tell someone a product unless you test them and tell them what they need.
Right.
Any other products? You've covered quite a bit. But any other products that would be good for someone who is dealing with stress, or does the vitamin D, the GABA, the 5-HT?
Yes, absolutely. A B complex. So when you're under stress, the adrenals just suck up your B vitamins. And so you will see, if you go to a Sprouts or you go to a vitamin shop and you go to the B section, you'll often see one that'll say stress B, which just means they double the B vitamins, because when you're under stress, you just race through them. So a B complex with your morning meal, don't take it too late in the day, can give you the energy and kind of support that your adrenal glands need. And the 5-HTP and the GABA, of course, for more calming. And then, get vitamin D tested so you know exactly how much vitamin D to take, because it could be anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 IU.
Okay. So I've got a question. I've got a friend in my world who is kind of struggling with feelings of like weakness and shakiness, and I'm thinking that it's a stress related situation, but he's saying he's not stressed. So in that situation where somebody is sort of just feeling off, vitamin D, B complex sounds like it's a really good place to start. Is there anything else that you'd recommend for someone who's just feeling off?
That SpectraCell test that you mentioned at the top of the hour, that is a wonderful test to run to see where you're deficient, because it looks at all the vitamins, all the minerals, and all the amino acids in your blood. And you may come back with something as, deficient in CoQ10, which could lead to that kind of weakness and feeling off as well. And it's good to know where you are deficient, so you can either add those foods in that have those vitamins and minerals, amino acids, or supplement with something that does. Typically, that's not something a doctor's office offers, because they don't often even recommend any kind of supplement over the counter.
Yeah, that's one of the things I just find so frustrating, because this is such preventive medicine, and it's so much better to address these things before you get ill. And I'm a big proponent of this for sure.
Absolutely.
Great information. This has been so wonderful. Going back to my test, we've got just a couple minutes before we go to break again, but back to my test where the progesterone was this sky high crazy. Let's explain to our listeners some of the symptoms if you are very high or very low progesterone, or very high or low estrogen. And they can't self-diagnose, but just, okay, if you're high estrogen, here's what you might be feeling. And
Exactly. Okay, so some of the symptoms of elevated estrogen would be a foggy brain, or people have difficulty concentrating. Also bloating and fluid retention. Elevated progesterone is like anxiety and vertigo and fatigue. Now, on the flip side, if you're deficient in estrogen, that's where you're not going to be able to sleep well. You could be having hot flashes, feeling very apathetic or hopelessness. Decreased progesterone is progesterone is like your antispasmodic hormone. So think of like younger women with their cycles having cramping, or anyone having migraines, anyone having eye twitches, or even restless legs. So that's your antispasmodic hormone, progesterone. We've also got, testosterone. Elevated testosterone can lead to aggressiveness and anger, while low testosterone could be low motivation, trouble remembering things and events, for, what we might call senior moments that could just be decreased testosterone.
Okay. And this, of course, is, again, for men or women, right? I mean,
Yes, absolutely. I've tested men who have come back with elevated estrogen, which is very scary. There's this whole, you cut me off if we're getting ready to go to break, but there's this whole field of study called, it's a condition called gynecomastia.
Well, I'm so glad you said that word, because I would have completely biffed that one. Gynecomastia,
yeah. It's a condition where men have increased breasts. And there's a whole field of doctors that's all they do is breast reduction in men. And it's coming to the point where they're looking now at environmental causes, which there's so many external estrogens that we're exposed to every day, in the chemicals that we're exposed to, and even hand sanitizers or hand creams or body soaps. Just there's so many things in our body care products in the air we breathe that are called xenoestrogens. That means external estrogens that get into our system and just wreak havoc.
Okay, I've got a question for you that when we come back. We do have to go to break, and I'm going to come back to you with a question on that. So hang with us, Karen. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM. We'll be right back.
Sweet, salty, tastiest, bacon and pancakiest. Big yawns are okay, yummy syrups, yes way. Butter pecan, blueberry, old-fashioned strawberry. Never empty coffee pot. Mom says it hits the spot. Almonds are the fluffiest, Dad's hugs the scruffiest. Scrambled eggy, pepper shaky, orange juicy, wide awake. Stuffed French toastiest, waffles with the mustiest. Buttermilky, smooth, silky, tastes great. Love on a plate.
IHOP, everything you love about breakfast.
There's only one Santa Clarita florist that mixes in classic designs with a touch of the wild. Wild at Heart Florist. Each arrangement is a piece of art, individually designed for you. They focus on your taste, providing the freshest flowers, custom selected from local vendors. Wild at Heart Florist. Weddings, special events, or just an I love you. See the difference at wildatheartflorist.com. Classic designs with a touch of the wild. wildatheartflorist.com.
Hey guys, this is Cardinellis, host of Problem Solver Politics. Are you the kind of person that demands to know the facts and truth behind politics instead of just hearing the same old rehearsed talking points? If so, then I got the show for you. Problem Solver Politics is an independent political talk show that interviews expert guests on real issues, both local and national. Our show holds Republican and Democrats' feet to the fire and puts problem solving before party politics. Trigger warning, this is bare knuckle boxing on air, so snowflakes need not apply. Join us Sundays at 7 p.m.
There's only one Santa Clarita plastic surgeon who is Yale trained and board certified, Dr. Justin Heller.
To be a board certified plastic surgeon like myself, what that truly entails is about 5 to 7 years of honed surgical training in reconstructive, all areas, as well as aesthetic, so which means your facelifts, your breast augmentations, your body contouring, true training, and board certification. In fact, that's the only board certified area that can be achieved in this realm.
Dr. Justin Heller, warm, understanding, always available for guidance because he's local. HellerPlasticSurgery.com.
There's a very good reason Gilbertson and LaCourneau have been voted Santa Clarita's #1 orthodontist for 8 years in a row.
Honestly, it's our team.
Dr. Megan LaCourneau.
I think for me, what makes it stand out is when I have patients that come up to me and say, we have never been in a doctor's office that feels like this. Our team is a family, and we really get along, and we are really passionate about what we do, helping our patients get the smiles they want and deserve.
Dr. Megan LaCourneau of Gilbertson and LaCourneau.
Embrace your smile.
EmbraceYourSmile.com.
There's only one Santa Clarita florist that mixes in classic designs with a touch of the wild. Wild at Heart Florist. Each arrangement is a piece of art, individually designed for you. They focus on your taste, providing the freshest flowers, custom selected from local vendors. Wild at Heart Florist. Weddings, special events, or just an I love you. See the difference at wildatheartflorist.com. Classic designs with a touch of the wild. wildatheartflorist.com.
Patti Handy, host of Starting Over with Patti Handy, has written several books that speak to her audience. 50 Ways to Flourish After Divorce. Divorce can be one of the most painful experiences in life. Having someone who understands the pain and loss can help in the healing process. This book shares powerful tips to help you not only survive divorce, but thrive. Getting through the day can take every bit of energy. This book was purposely written in short, easy-to-read segments. Start the healing process and move toward a life of happiness and joy once again. You're listening to Starting Over with Patti Handy, Senior Mortgage Advisor with American Family Funding. Patti's show will focus on healing, inspiring, and empowering anyone going through a divorce or a loss of a spouse. They're talking about everything from money and managing finances, legal issues, emotional healing, physical well-being, and so much more.
I'll be the last one standing, 2 hands in the air.
Welcome back to Starting Over. I'm your host, Patti Handy. I have Karen Roth with me on air. Gosh, what a great show. This has been, if you've missed any part of it, you'll want to make sure you go back and listen in from the beginning. We're talking about nutrition and stress and hormones and feeling well and just, taking care of our body. And there's so much that we can do holistically and over the counter that does not cost a fortune. So I would strongly suggest, again, you listen from the top. We left the show, Karen, going to commercial, talking about the different hormones and the symptoms of elevated or reduced estrogen, progesterone. And you were talking about the products that are on, over the counter that affect us. Let's continue on with that conversation.
Absolutely. So if you just consider like a day in your life of how many products that you use, it's considered on average that women use 12 products a day that exposes them to 168 chemicals each day. Think about that. Your shower, shampoo, conditioner, maybe shaving cream, body soap. You get out of the shower, you use toothpaste, use hair gel. You might put on body cream, and then you've got foundation, mascara. Women alone. Men on average consume or use about 6 products a day, and that exposes them to about 80 chemicals. So some of the chemicals that we're looking at are parabens, which can really mess with your estrogen, triclosan, which could really mess with your testosterone. There's actually propane in some shaving cans. So, the men's shaving cream, Barbasol.
Yeah.
Those kind of shaving can creams, those have propane in them.
Oh, that's special.
So
good Lord.
Think about putting that on your face every day.
Holy moly.
The word fragrance, just the word fragrance itself. Let's say you have a natural product and it says fragrance oil of lavender. That's fine. But if it just says fragrance, that can have up to 2,000 different chemicals. Companies do not have to give you their formula. It's considered proprietary. So they can just use the word fragrance, and fragrance is in almost everything. I've seen triclosan in toothpaste. So think of anything that's like, antibacterial, antimicrobial. I've seen triclosan in workout wear. So if you get clothing that you wear at the gym it says antimicrobial, that probably has it infused in there.
Oh, jeez.
So, yes. So it's very daunting to change things out in your house. So I just tell all of my clients, start with your shower. That's where you're the most exposed. You're totally naked. You've got hot shower running. Every pore in your body is wide open. So you're absorbing anything that you're putting on your body. There's a great website called EWG.org. It stands for Environmental Working Group. And then if you, after org/skin deep, you can actually go there and look up your body care products and see what the score is. They also have an app where you can scan. If you have a barcode on your products, you can scan it and it'll give you an immediate reading of 0 to 10.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think it's called EWG Healthy Living app, and you can use it on body care products and food. So anything that has a barcode, almost anything, they should have it in their system.
It'll take me like 6 hours at the market. I'll be scanning everything. just because I want to know what's happening with all that. My gosh, that's scary.
It is very scary about, if you just think about, 12 products, 168 ingredients. And there's thousands of chemicals that are quote unquote improved by our country, but literally a fraction of them have ever been tested.
That's scary.
It is very scary. what were we just hearing on the news yesterday? That the EPA buried a report that formaldehyde causes cancer. They didn't even release that to the public. And they did a study. They found out definitively it causes cancer. So we're being, the Environmental Working Group is a great organization to even follow. They constantly are releasing reports of like clean water, healthier sunscreens, healthier baby products. They're on it. They are just on it. They're nonprofit. So that's a great resource to go and see what might be killing you.
That's scary. So let me ask you mentioned water. I've always heard that if you leave like a bottle of water in your car, a plastic bottle, and you come back to it 2 days later, that the seeping of the plastic goes into the water and there's hormones and whatnot. Is that true, or is that a myth?
That is true.
That
true.
Is true. Okay.
And the thinner the plastic, the worst. And there's a little tip. If the most dangerous plastics of all are the number 3 and the number 6. And do you know what almost every American uses every day that's a number 6?
I'm afraid to ask. We have a minute left, so.
A coffee cup lid.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, think about that. Every time you go to a coffee shop, and that plastic lid is always a 6.
Wow, that's fantastic. Holy moly.
So always look at the numbers, and remember 3 and 6 are the dangerous ones.
Okay. Well, we have had a great show with you, Karen. Thank you so much. Again, it's Karen Roth, ROTHnutrition.com. You can reach her at 818-400-5410. Thank you so much for joining me, Karen. And we will see you back here in 2 weeks. And again, thank you for listening to KHTS, AM 1220, FM 98.1. Until next time.